And we just want to find out how you're feeling, where you're at, emotionally,
drained,
psychologically, where you're at, and also would Europa League glory? They're in the semi-final, so anything is possible. Would that kind of erase what's been a season of hurt?
Do you know what, Jules? As much as I have optimism, I don't think we're going to beat Man United. Are going to beat Atletico Bilbao. I don't. I think it's a difficult competition, and the way I feel right now about Manchester United, I love Rúben. I really do. I think that result against Lyon last week was incredible. Manchester United should never have been in that position, you know, for it to come. As soon as Lacazette scored that penalty, I thought it was game over. And I was actually on commentary for that game, and it was incredible. The atmosphere, Casemiro, Harry Maguire, I thought were exceptional. But it's not been a great season. And I've said this many, many times. Rúben Amorim is the right manager, just the wrong time. I wish he had the same budget Eric Ten Hag was given, because I believe in what he's saying, and I feel for him at times because he's coming out in his press conferences and he's trying to kind of like, I think he does a really good job at kind of speaking. He's honest, but it's like, what more can he say? It just hasn't been good enough, and it can't come down to him. And I've said this honestly, I sound like a stuck record, but like the players individually are just not good enough. And you can have tactics, you can play different formations. When Ralf Rangnick came in, 4-1-1-1. 4-3-3, outside back, you know, like full backs. And it just hasn't worked. But the individuals just haven't been good enough. But in Europe, Manchester United are the only team in the world unbeaten.
Yeah.
So we'll take that right now. But I just think, you know, Højlund just hasn't been good enough. There's a lot of individuals that haven't been. But I'll tell you who has been, Bruno Fernandes. He's been unbelievable. And he never gets the praise and the accolades that he deserves. Because for me, if Manchester United didn't have Bruno Fernandes, I'm not saying they'd get relegated because of the teams this year. But previous years, Man United would have been way down there further than they are.
It's weird that Bruno Fernandes gets so much hate. I can't
only in
understand
England,
it.
though, I think. I don't know why. It must be United's kind of agenda against United. Because certainly in France, he gets highly praised for the performances that he put. I think he's just in one of those weird things from England.
Yeah.
I think one of the big things that I was noticing, the stats at the bottom there while watching the Amorim interview, is the fact that Bournemouth have never finished above Manchester United, and they're 11 points better off than them. We know what happened the first time these two teams played. It's another case of where Manchester United are right now when you look at them compared to a Bournemouth side who are doing quite well right now.
Bournemouth amazing, best season ever in the Premier League. Really, they're going to beat their best tally. They're already equal it anyway, so they're going to get above that. They won 3-0 out of Trafford in a game where they were by far the better team at the time. And that's the thing with Amorim, though. I agree with Ian in the sense that I think he's really good and he will succeed eventually. But so far, it's 6 wins in 6 months in the Premier League, and this is just not good enough. The team has regressed more than progressed since he took over, and I didn't expect that. I didn't expect them to go and suddenly with him fight for the title, but I didn't expect them to be so low in the table. He just didn't have much time or not enough time to work with his players because they played every 3 days pretty much since the day he arrived because of Europe. But it's still disappointing in where they are now. And even if they save it with the Europa League, I still think that to be in that position in the league is pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that they could go the entire month of April without a victory because the last win came in March in the Premier League. I want to look forward now because we did show the Wolves game, and one of the Wolves players is quite heavily linked with Manchester United, and Matheus Cunha. That would be a fantastic buy for them if they could pull it off. What do you think about it? Do you think he'd fit in? And who else do you think Manchester United... How many players do you think they need to get in?
No doubt Cunha's a good player, but does it fill me with excitement of like the greatest signing ever? No. But it is a step up from Højlund. Xerxes done a relatively good job since he's come in, but I think Cunha is a step up. But let's be honest, he's had one good season in the Premier League, and I think Manchester United, are getting carried away in this moment. I think people do think he's been strongly linked, 62 mil, Jules, along those lines. So I would take Cunha, because I think he is a step up. But at the same time, like I said, you're asking me who I want, I'd have Ollie Watkins all day long. What do you think, Jules?
Yeah, he's a much younger player he's 5 years younger than Ollie Watkins, for example. Different profile because he's not a number 9, he's more of a second striker. He would play, I think, in one of the two inside 10s position behind whoever is a striker at United, which, by the way, they need one too. So it's okay if you spend the money on Cunha, but you need to make sure you've got enough money to go and get a proper number 9 to replace Højlund, Xerxes, Rashford, whoever you want there. And then I think 62 is too much for him. I agree with Leon. If you can get him for less than that, and his agent is also Rúben Amorim's agent, so you should be able to maybe find a way somewhere, because the guy is also make the decision at Wolves. So he's got everything. It's all there to maybe get that fee a bit lower. And then I think at 40 million, for example, yeah, you sign him, of course, because he's better than what you have already in those positions.
Leanne, if I give you 3 players, I say you're definitely getting 3 players. You don't have to tell me which players and you don't have to give me names. You just have to tell me which areas, which positions would you think are priority for Manchester United for next season?
I choose 8 players. Priority.
We don't have the whole. We don't have the whole hour.
Priority, 100%. Someone that can put the ball in the back of the net. I think another centre back, definitely, and I think midfield area. I like what Casemiro's done of late. I think he's been brilliant. But I think the Manchester United midfield and overall squad, I think Manchester United need a complete overhaul, completely. So if you're asking me for 3, honestly, Jules, I could pick way more because positionally, Manchester United haven't been good enough. And I think everybody can see that.
Who stays besides Bruno?
Xerxes, potentially. I mean, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, but like you look at the back line, I think Harry Maguire's done well of late. But other than that, like who stays? Oh, Kobbie Mainoo, Amad Diallo. But other than that...
Garnacho, but the problem with Mainoo, Garnacho, they've got the highest value though. So if United don't have the money to buy the players they want, they will have to sell those high value players, unfortunately, and reinvest that money.
Only about 4 players, I think, are of the standard to get Manchester United back to where they need to be overall.
Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to petition for an hour at the end of the season.
Please
so
do.
That you can talk about everyone you'd like
just
to
let it go.
You've got enough tissues to wipe my
therapy. Just it stays between us.
Okay, so legendary title winner Jamie.
United travel to the South Coast to face Bournemouth in what promises to be a crucial Premier League clash for Rúben Amorim's side. With European qualification hanging in the balance, every point matters, and United will be desperate to get back to winning ways after recent mixed results. Ahead of the game, manager Rúben Amorim provided a key injury update during his pre-match press conference. Right-back Diogo Dalot has been ruled out due to a calf injury picked up earlier this month. His absence will be a blow to United's defensive structure, as Dalot had been one of the more consistent performers this season. However, there's good news too. Amad Diallo is edging closer to a full return. The exciting young winger, who had been sidelined with a long-term injury, is now back in full training and could feature from the bench if Amorim feels he is ready. His creativity and energy could be vital in the final stretch of the season. In terms of team selection, Amorim hinted at some possible rotations. Marcus Rashford, fresh off an impressive performance against Aston Villa, is expected to start again, while Rasmus Højlund and Bruno Fernandes remain key attacking threats. Meanwhile, Andre Onana is set to retain his spot between the posts despite recent criticism, with Amorim backing him to respond positively. Bournemouth, on the other hand, have been strong at home under Andoni Iraola and will be a tough opponent. Their attacking players like Dominic Solanke and Justin Kluivert can cause serious problems if United aren't fully focused.